Hey guys, it's William Ryan, Kambria Community Manager, and I have with me Jared Go, the CTO of Kambria. And we just wanted to bring you guys a technical update. It's been a while since we've had one of these, so we wanted to catch you up. And just to recap, back in September, for those of you who don't know, we soft-launched our Kambria Open Innovation Platform. In addition to that, this week we opened our Innovation Hub, which you can see here. We have behind us some Omni Labs robots, and we also launched our Global Grand Challenge where innovators can compete for $50,000 to build the best AI personal assistant, which will include speech, navigation, and fall detection. So in addition to that, we released our Kambria Master Business Plan. If you haven't checked that out, please read that so you can understand a little bit more about where we're headed as a company. And to update you on some technical updates, I have some questions here.
Yep.
So about the platform, where is Kambria in terms of development and release for the full launch of the platform?
Yeah, so we're working hard on that. I would say we're about 30 to 40% of the way there. We're working on all sorts of architecture and all sorts of structure for how different modules are getting shared. And really what we want to do is we want to make sure we kind of do this in the right way. So we talked a lot before about things like KDNA, how do you encode hardware more like software, and how do you make those pieces all interchangeable. So what we're doing now is we're actually working with a number of both large corporations and also some startups and universities with different groups doing different projects. Some are around similar to what you mentioned, some are around detecting things that might be fall hazards, some are around how do you recognize different people, an open source module for recognizing different people's faces so that the robot can do something different. But then also talking with them to pull and unify all their code with the things we have today, the things that we're bringing, like the Omni robot technology and stuff like that, making all that modular and putting together. So our goal is to sort of finish up more of the drafting, the specification of those things, and then start getting to the point where we're uploading all those content from all those projects onto Kambria soon. So I think that should be happening throughout this year.
Awesome. So can you tell us, do you know what features it'll likely be launched with?
Yeah. So we're definitely looking at a way actually to get your hands on reproducing designs that other people upload. So backed by some of the 3D printing capability that we've developed at Omni Labs, the ability to share a project, the ability to take all the physical designs that need to be printed and say print now and submit something for us. So we're looking to do that, so a key thing. Also, we're looking to make it really clear exactly what you need to reproduce a project in terms of suppliers and sourcing materials. So say we have this really cool arm, you take that and you say, okay, I want to modify it, I want to buy all the parts and start with that. Then it's a very clear bill of materials, where to get stuff, where you might get a part in, say, country X or country Y, all this stuff. So we think that, especially at the beginning, interchanging hardware designs quickly is one of the things that we really need to enable more innovation in this space. Awesome. So that's going to be one of the key features.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So what are some of your favorite potential use cases for Kambria?
There's so many to count. I think personally, the reason we started Omni Labs first in the first place was because we're passionate about robots helping humans in everyday life. So personally, I'm interested to see robots that can go around and say, take things from place to place in a really easy way. There are a lot of expensive robots out there, for example, like SoftBank's robots or other ones where they might cost between $10 to $100 to $200,000, and still the capabilities are limited. They're very industrial and not very easy to program. But I'm especially excited about bringing the cost of those down, working with all our partners who are doing amazing things like, how do you actually tell jokes or talk to a senior who's lonely? How do you detect that? Or how do you, for example, have a robot go in an elevator, and instead of right now you have to do all this back-end integration to send the elevator to a certain floor, can this robot simply just press the button and understand the cues, when it's time to leave and all this kind of stuff? Can you do all those kind of things? And then on top of that, then can you build all these rich services about businesses that want the automated like imagine a clinic who wants an automated sort of receptionist or intake person where new people come into the clinic, they're like, I want to see Dr. So-and-so. He can greet you, to ask you if you need to fill out any financial information, anything like that, take any updates from you, and then guide you to a room, help you guide you through vitals or anything else. Any of all these use cases we want to enable in the easiest way possible.
Yeah, I think we can all agree robots and AI, their main purpose is to improve the quality of life.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
Definitely important.
And low cost, we're always, Kambria innovation is also about cost. And if things are really expensive, people get shut out. So we definitely want to bring the lowest possible cost for the most possible capabilities to everybody.
That's awesome. So, all right, so you guys started Omni Labs. Now, what was the motivation for Kambria? Why open innovation?
So that actually came out of talking to a lot of other sort of folks like roboticists, again, startups, big companies. A lot of them all had the same sort of problem, which was they all wanted to be innovative, right? But then when they started building a team, they're like, let's try doing this. It became quite hard because you need a lot of people. Something like robotics, you need at least, a few electrical people, a few mechanical people, some software people. And then within each of those, some subspecialties. You even need a production team, maybe a sourcing team. You need like people doing wiring, all this stuff. It just explodes, right? So what we found is actually about 80 to 90% of the work that goes into something new, like a new robot design that a new group is spinning up, is actually duplicated work that some other lab has done, we have done, all these people have done. It's just there's no good incentive to share. So I think really here the key is how do we get all that stuff to be shared quickly, and how do we start building it all into a unified repository where you have these ready to go designs. And then it's not about restarting from the beginning, it's just about building on top, building the 2 or 3 or 4% instead of having to redo all this 90%. So I think that's how we came at it.
Awesome, thank you. So where would you like to see Kambria, or your vision for the 5-year plan?
Yeah, great question. So something we all continually discuss and refine over the last years. And I think personally, if you look at innovation, there's so many supports to do innovation right that is actually quite interesting challenge and an opportunity to tackle those different areas. So for example, let's take one that I'm really passionate about personally is our Kambria's Global Innovation Fund. And it's a new idea we're starting to sort of incubate and bring up. But the idea is, you have, let's say in the US, you have pools of researchers at top universities, right? Every single university. Right now, they're going through this painful process of writing all these grants, all this like paperwork, and the whole process is so sort of outdated. Some of these grants, when you fill them out, they require you to fly in person every month to some site and then report in person and all this stuff, right? So how can Kambria play a role for those people being maybe a better alternative to grants, where companies around the world, not just the ones but a global reach, any company that's interested in your particular research or your particular area can participate in funding you and participate in access to both the professor's expertise and the products what's produced from the research that's done. And so the Global Innovation Fund is trying to tie that together, and that's funding for research, funding for all these people who are solving all these hard challenges, that then this technology can be opened up and shared with the Kambria community and all these businesses deriving value off it. Yeah. So that's one area, that's all about funding. There's another area, for example, innovation hubs is another big passion, because at the end of the day, doing this kind of tech, it's usually not just one person sitting by themselves. You need whole groups of people. And so our focus is how do you create repeatedly these spaces with the right combination of tools, the right combination of people, advice, mentorship, where you can really stimulate innovation and participation in all these projects. And so, I think we're passionate about the one we started here. This is sort of our core prototype where we're really going to test out, the things that we teach, the equipment that you have access to, and we're looking to reproduce that around the country. And I think a lot of the things will be seeing next, very interesting, is we just want to keep growing the Kambria community, so really push on how do we grow the number of users. And what we've been doing, personally, we've been talking to a lot of sort of roboticists, data scientists, and all these innovative disciplines. And we're starting to have now people sign up and put their info on Kambria. So in the coming months, you'll see more and more users talking about their projects, their research, their work. And as we get that on Kambria, I think it's something where you see sort of the value of the sort of skills and tech and everything that we're pulling together on Kambria.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have here some questions from the community. Now, if you don't hear your question, that's probably because it wasn't technically related. So we'll have another AMA where you can ask other types of questions about exchanges and all that. So I'm going to keep it very technically centered for Jared here. Yeah. So we have a question here from Laura, and can you tell us more about the Kambria Dev Kit? Like what's included, who can use it, and what are some ideas of innovations that people can build with?
Gotcha. So the Kambria Dev Kit is really centered around some work that we did at Omni Labs. How do you make a really affordable but good robot platform that people can build off of? So actually, if you look at it, it's essentially what we have here. So the robot like these are from all different generations. This is part of our museum collection. But it's a robot about this form factor, which is actually, it's pretty hard to find in the market, a robot that's affordable, that's about this high, with full UI and all this stuff and controllability. Specifically for the Dev Kit, we're looking at adding a lot more sensors. So there's going to be LiDAR, there's going to be depth cameras. And I think we just want to hit just enough for a lot of interesting applications to be done. So for example, this is the platform that you can put an arm on and try to do this elevator task. You know, go in the elevator, come out a different floor. You can turn this into something that's, you know, taking a package from A to B. You can turn this into the thing that's like a receptionist guiding you or touring you around a building. So really, we want this to be sort of, you know, I envision Kambria as having these main primary types or classes or almost like species of robots, right? And this will be the first one that's really like, you know, sort of the indoor human scale platform that, you know, pretty much goes simple terrain, things like that. I'm excited about some other enhancements too in the future. We may have an outdoor version coming soon. We have a lot of people interested in that. So, you know, but the primary one will be sort of more indoor human scale, human robot interaction, robot tasks oriented. And you can build, you can couple, you know, you can add your own electronics, you can add your own hardware, you can customize the software. We have some programming languages that make it really easy to do all this stuff. So we're very excited about what's in there.
So like to build on that, then basically, you know, we know this is built on Android. Android's open source as well, so there's a lot of software modifications that we can make. But so when the full launch of the platform, and we do have these modules where people can build logic and build the software, they'll then be able to buy a dev kit and actually test it out with hardware that we've already created.
Absolutely. The goal is that everything is tied together and working like day one. So you download this, you have a module, someone who did the facial recognition, you want to make it greet like every person in the family, you know, like differently or new visitors. I think that will all be, we want to make that as easy as possible.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. Cool. So Jen has asked, why is open source important for robotics development?
Excellent question. I love that question. So for us, open source is important just because robotics is at the stage where you don't necessarily know the exact right solution for the problem at any time. So generally, say you know, company A goes and makes a really good robot that's solving, you know, some problem. But, you know, with a few small tweaks, you could take that robot and now fit all these different problems. Well, if it's usually closed, it's very hard. There's not enough incentive for this company to sort of like license you the design or anything like that. But the difference is when it's open, you know, you are free pretty much to go and make those changes yourself. And I think that's a huge enabler. So one of the reasons I feel like Linux sort of accumulated such a huge mass behind it was because, you know, it was 99% of what you want. You're missing, you know, a new device or something like that. You can write that little chunk and then you can use it right away. And I think that's why robotics just has so many pieces that in order to start from scratch, it's just way too much effort, way too much time. This gives you a much better path. And I think it's also a real path to commercialization because even as an individual hobbyist, if you are really gifted, you know, roboticist, you just do this night and day, it's hard to go from making one to making like 10 or 100 or whatever. But if you have this product that, you know, these Kambria manufacturers are helping you make at different scales already, 50, 100, 1,000 units, if you have small changes, then I think as a community, they will be able to help you make those changes and get them out there more at scale. So, you know, it's surprising how many labs we talk to where they're like, oh, we have this really cool robotics project. We built this robot from scratch. Okay, we built 2. And now we want to test 10, but I don't have a grad student who's going to build the other 8 or anything like that, you know? So I think this can actually accelerate a lot of things over time, too.
Awesome. Okay, so we have some questions here from Holst. And what is the Karma token, or if it's a token at all, and what functions will it have?
Great question. So Karma is not actually a token per se. Karma is a non-tradable ledger entry. And the idea is that, you know, we don't want to sort of, you know, reward you with something that you're going to like spend or something like that. But it's to count contributions to the Kambria community, simply put. And the goal is that, you know, as Karma is distributed, for example, say a company is sponsoring some work, the money that they go, that then gets paid into, you know, to developers who are competing on the bounties or doing the work, then because they put the money in, they also are rewarded with some form of measure of contribution. And our goal is to use this system as Karma gets distributed to everyone to really track and see who put in what effort. And as things go over time, then we can sort of help to kind of reward them, or we can help to give them something back for what they put in. So I think a lot of this is, the Karma system is tight coupled to CAT, but it's not like a tradable token or something you will be able to sell or anything like that.
So I think you touched on this earlier, but are there any grants planned?
Yes, absolutely. So grants for us will fall under the Kambria Global Innovation Fund program. especially if you know or you are a researcher or you know of a research group anywhere or anything. Would love for you to put us in touch with them and we can help to talk to them about it or let them know about this. And specifically, again, we just want to totally change the inefficient and old way that grants are done and replace it with something much more modern, much faster, and much more collaborative, more industry and academia working together rather than just academia doing its own thing. So yeah, we hope to publish more about that soon, and put us in touch if you know of any really cool projects or any researchers, professors looking for funding and stuff like that. So
awesome. Yes. You can always send us an email to info@kambria.io, and if you're a roboticist yourself or you know anybody that might be interested, give us an email and we'll make sure we get back to you really quick.
Yeah.
So, if I plan to visit one of your hubs, perhaps in Vietnam, what knowledge do I need and what shall I do?
Excellent question.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to cater it to be as open and inclusive as possible. That said, I think it's for us to sort of determine what is the right level of sort of curriculum and training and material and tools. Our goal is that if you're really a person who likes to self-teach and you just need some support, you need advice, you need other smart people there, then it's really a place where you should just show up and you just work from there, hang out, use tools, get to learn new things. Because I think inspiration and sort of, coming up with new ideas is really just about being around them in the first place, being around other innovative people and stuff like that. So I would highly encourage you can just show up and talk to the people who are there. I think we'll be hosting some networking and meetup events and stuff like that. And also we plan to give some talks about different areas like 3D printing, design for manufacturability, things like that. So just come and start there. And I think after that, then you can sort of filter or see what you're most interested in. But come and meet people. I think it's great for the community as a whole.
Yeah, we have one here. Like I said, we're here in the Santa Clara Open Innovation Hub. It's here in Silicon Valley, and we've already had visitors here. We have 3D printers around the room, and we're building up an infrastructure, and we're going to replicate these in different parts of the world. So we have one last question from Ronan, and he wants to know about Kambria's revenue streams. Do we already have any, and what are they?
Yeah, so Kambria, actually, we're interested in doing this in many ways. So for example, the Global Innovation Fund, we're working on both sides. We already have a lot of researchers lined up who are really interested in this. Obviously, I think it's, better ways to fund is very central to them. And also a lot of big companies throughout the world. So the ones in Asia who don't normally have access to these kind of universities or these kind of professors. And I think we're getting a lot of interest on that side. I'm not ready to disclose numbers yet, but I think there's a lot of big potential interest there. Also for innovation hubs, I think that's another key thing for us where it's about signing a few big partners who are going to be very interested in sort of stimulating the ecosystem and getting the connections to the local talent, to local teams and local innovators. So we're really excited to push on those two as the main fronts, and I think we'll be talking about this more throughout the year. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jared.
Hey,
that's all we have for today.
Yeah.
Check back in with us, and we're going to have some more information for you and another AMA where you can ask some of the other questions that you asked. And thank you, everybody, for your support, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.